Hi there, and thanks for tuning into this quick video here at the Museum Modeler channel. This is going to be a little bit different from the usual videos that I do here, because instead of reviewing or unboxing a kit, I'm going to be showing a finished build. This was at the request of one of the subscribers here, and I wanted to honor that and go ahead and just show how one of the earlier kits that you saw me unbox came together. This is a look at the Take-Om or Talk-Om or however you say it, 1/35th scale St. Chamond late model World War I tank. And I've got it right here on the workbench. So, let's zoom in for you. There she is. This kit was very different for me as far as my build experience goes, since for one, it's armor. I don't do a lot of armor. Aircraft and ships are by far my forte. But the World War I armor trend that has hit the hobby has kind of bit me, because you don't see a lot of World War I tanks out at competitions or in build groups. Everybody does a Panzer or a Panther or a Tiger, or even Shermans. I mean, you're looking at World War II tanks, there are a dime a dozen. World War I is still up and coming, and since I prefer to do kits that are a little bit more unique as far as their subject matter goes, took on this St. Chamond. Besides, it just looks like a beast, doesn't it? The kit was straightforward enough. I have most of a build log on the WordPress site, which is themuseummodeler.wordpress.com. I don't think I did a complete log because laziness, but I did get at least most of the way through, so you can see how the tracks and the sub-assemblies come together. But you've got, of course, a full hull, very detailed underside with lots of suspension pieces. I would show you them, except La Bégorie, as I believe it's pronounced, is glued to the base, so I can't pick her up. But what I did was I wanted to display this tank breaking through, since that was what they were most known for in the First World War when they were working. So I knew from the start I wanted to have barbed wire, mud, just a really gritty scene. So what we've got is a regular plaque base, picked it up from Michael's, I believe it was, and plaster. Now, this is the second attempt. The first time I did this, the plaster soaked into the wood curved up overnight, it crowned really badly, and I lost the whole base. So this time I learned to seal the wood, so learning experience there. So the second time, it came out much better anyways. Using foam, I went ahead and shaped the basic contours of the ground I wanted to do. I put the tank down and shaped around it. That way I wouldn't have to have necessarily an inch or two of plaster. And once that foam was glued into place, layered it over with plaster, and just roughed it up as best I could. I used the end of bulbous pipettes to create craters, which I don't know if you can see, but I got a couple of those in the dirt there. The barbed wire, the posts are actually balsa wood. I think it's 3/32 square, but it's a really long, skinny piece of balsa wood. I stained it, chopped it up, stained it again, and then bent and aligned the different posts that I was going to want. This is, I never scaled it out, but I intended it to be about roughly every 4 or 5 feet. Yes, you would probably see actual barbed wire in the First World War much closer together than that, but it prevents a nice effect for what we're going for here. So we have this all throughout, and then of course on the back side you can see, move this over here, I'm doing this kind of at a weird angle so the alignment's a bit off. There we go. You can see the tank serving its purpose, crushing that barbed wire underfoot. This wire, you see it moves. This is actually window screen that I cut really long strips out of. The screen was already gray, so the color worked well. I did apply some MIG pigment, a rust color, to sort of redden it up from time to time. Didn't necessarily need the MIG pigment. I know there's a lot of controversy about whether it's worth it to spend $6 on a tube of powder. You could do the same thing with pastel chalk, I'm sure. I wanted to try MIG. It seemed like a good opportunity to do so. In the future, maybe I'll use pastels, who knows, but the MIG works well. And I used that for rust effects. For the mud, I used the AK Interactive Fresh Mud applique. I did have to go through two tubes of it, because the first base I said was a loss. But all the same, this stuff, it goes over really well. When it's wet, it's very dark, and as it dries, it gives you these nice different color consistencies. So you've got built-in shading just depending on how thick it is that you layer it on. Also, if you mix plaster into it, you can get it to come out really gloopy, so as it dries it has texture. So we've got mud texture along the wheels, along the front and the glacis plate of the Saint Chamond, and then dripping here off the back as well. I've got a whole photo album on the blog, which again is themuseummodeler.wordpress.com. So lots of high resolution close-in shots that really show how this came together. But again, this was just quick to say, hey, look, I did finish it, and it came out better than I expected. The coloring, oh, I should mention the coloring. MiG does have a paint set for World War I French tanks, and the color callouts in the take-on manual are keyed to the MiGs. So it was $14, I think, but it got 6 bottles. The bottles are the size of the Vallejo, so you get a good bit in there. I still have tons of the stuff left over, and it's really closely keyed to the actual colors. The paint callouts for this particular tank only showed the left side and I think the top. The rest was all speculation. It might have shown the front and back, I don't recall, but I know it didn't show the right side, and there were no historical references I could find for the right side. So I'll admit this paint scheme is a loose interpretation of that was actually used on this particular tank. And it was masked with both Tamiya tape and parafilm. First time using parafilm, it worked really well. So long as you get it down nice and tight, it goes along these curves and these rivets really smoothly. So I recommend that as well. But there you have it, one finished piece of armor. I hope that this satisfies my viewers, and that it shows that there are, in fact, things that get finished here at the Museum Modeler's Bench. For if you want to look back at previous updates, by all means, check out the Museum Modeler Facebook page, which had a constant running stream of updates during this build, as well as photos and things of the sort. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that we can talk more about extra armor in the future. Believe it or not, I have several more in the stash, and I'll be doing some unboxing reviews of those very soon. So until then, have a great day, and happy modeling.